Okay, hi everybody. Let me let the dog get out first. Out. So, like so many of us who are in isolation at the moment, and our hall has been closed indefinitely. Some of you are going stir crazy at home, wondering what you can do, how you can get some training in, and this video is to help with that. We've had a number of people who joined the club only in the last month or so, and we're just getting into our beginner's syllabus, and those students in particular are really stuck right now learning what to do. Well, obviously, if you want a fence, it's easy to do with a partner, but there are certain solo drills that you could be doing. So we're going to look at 3 basic drills, 2 cuts, and then combining them together that you can do in the comfort of your own home or apartment. So first things first, we're going to look at our basic overhel from Von Tag off the right and left shoulder. So remembering that when we're holding the sword, nice and relaxed grip, we don't want white knuckles. The cross guard level-ish with the shoulders, with the sword going slightly back, checking for lamps and light fixtures and so forth. And we then I'm looking at our feet, hip, shoulder width apart, back straight, shoulders relaxed, and doing a nice simple cut. And you want to time it so that your hands come into this Langenord position, long point, hands out level with the shoulders, arms straight but elbows not locked, a half a second before the foot hits the ground. In the same way that when I throw a punch, I don't do it like this. When I'm cutting on a sword, the timing is important. And this is something you can be practicing at home, this simple timing. So hands coming forward, foot starts to move, coming into long point a half a second before the foot hits the ground. And then check your stance. Are my feet still the same shoulder hip width apart? Okay? When I do the cut, do I take too long a step? Oh no. Fix my stance and we're good. And then coming onto the left hand, left shoulder. If you have enough room, you can be going forwards and backwards. If you don't, stepping back and cutting again. Okay? Same thing again, coming into long point a half a second before the foot hits the ground. So nice and simple. 1, check my feet. 2, check my feet. 1, 2. And then we can switch it so that we're not breaking the lights and getting into trouble. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? Next we're going to look at the Zwerker. So this is coming from the ox position with a thumb grip. Thumb grip meaning we don't just do this, that's on a thumb grip. A thumb grip, we rotate the sword so that the thumb is pointing down the center. We're coming into a narrow stance. We want our sword over our head, cross guard in front of the face, tip pointing at our opponent. And we are coming around and we're doing a cut like so. Now, we're all guilty of this, doing a Zwerker where the sword comes behind the head and comes around in that helicopter of death, but in reality you want to avoid that. Rather, we want to try and pivot over the point of balance. So keep the hands in front and snap. And how you generate that power, I can't do it that well because I'm in a confined space, but how we generate the power is actually from the hip. So instead of bringing the sword really far all the way back around and breaking something, we want to not do it that way, and not just for live fixtures, but also because it's slow and not as powerful as hands in front and generating that hip action. So, like so, okay? And then from the other side, same thing again, and so, okay? So a nice simple exercise. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay? And then we want to see about putting these two together, which we can do nice and simply, in a way that won't break our house. So we're starting off with our overhel, coming into long point, and then when we step back, rotating our grip into a thumb grip, and coming into ox with the Zwerker. So 1, 2. 1, 2. the purpose of these drills are to just get used to practicing the movements, okay? Now, of course, the question you might be asking, especially if you are someone who recently joined the club, is how do I do this if I don't have a sword? You don't need a sword to practice fencing. What I have here is an old handle from one of my mops. You might ask, why have I got this red tape on the front? This is something I'm suggesting for people training at home. Get a broom handle, a stick, something straight, something that comes to somewhere between solar plexus and armpit is long enough. Is that as long as my fader shirt? No, but it's okay, it's enough, you know, and especially if you're doing this in confined spaces, apartments or homes, if you don't have access to a back garden, then you don't want something that's well over a meter in length, okay? The reason for the tape is so I know which side is my long edge and which side is my short edge, because if you're not used to these drills, you might find it tricky to keep track, okay? If I've got a round pole as opposed to a flat blade, it can be hard to know, am I keeping my long edge and my short edge good? But something simple like this, a broom handle, get a marker down one side, a piece of insulation tape, you can still now do all these drills, same as before. 1, 2. 1, 2. And I now know if my hand starts to turn at all as I'm cutting, I know I'm coming in flat because I've got the tape. Okay, I've got this visual aid. Okay, so same drill as before. 1, 2. Now for the zwerkow, nice and simple. It doesn't matter. My tape should be, if I'm in right ox, pointing to my right, and thumb underneath. 1, 2. 1, 2. And then our last one, our overhell with a zwerkow. 1, 2. 1, 2. I hope these drills are of use. We will be uploading more in the next while. We will be also looking at some of Myra's devices, some more complex plays for our more experienced students. Bear with us. I am working from home trying to teach maths and science to a bunch of teenagers every day. So I will upload these in and when as I can. And good luck, and may your lampshades live long and fruitful lives.